Hi everyone, I'm Lisa,
I'm Lori.
and we're here to talk to you about our fortnightly cross stitch challenge chat. So, thanks for joining us. If you're interested in finding out ways to keep yourself motivated in your cross stitching endeavors, then you are in the right place. If you don't care about cross stitching groups on Facebook and you don't care about switching whips and finding out what you want to do, then scroll on by to the regular floss tube.
Yeah.
We tend to get one of these interspersed in between our regular ones. So, yeah, we're here to talk to you about what's happening for this fortnight, which is starting the approximately the 23rd of October.
Yeah.
Okay, what's in daily 30? We've got 2 weeks to cover.
Yeah. So Elephant Week started back on October 14th and it runs through October 28th. And this is the Daily 30 Weekly. They come out weekly, but they last for 2 weeks. So there's an overlap, a continuous overlap. So the stitch count for this weekly event is 300 or 3 hours for 4 tokens, 400 stitches or 4 hours for 6 tokens. And our first prompt is, let me scroll down to the condensed version. First prompt, stitch on a middle-aged whip, not your youngest whip and not your oldest whip.
Well, that is pretty easy depending on how broad you make that. Because if it's
Yeah,
just distinctly not your oldest and not your youngest, then that gives me 78 other whips to choose from.
yes,
So I think I might stitch on Pretty Little Sydney because I'm wanting to knock it over.
got it. I'm looking to see what whip I picked, and I'm not sure. Probably I can't do the haunted library style. And so I believe I did penalty stitches, but if I didn't do penalty stitches, I probably would do something along the lines of Attack on Titan
Mm-hmm.
because I want to get that done.
Yeah.
So there you go. To show a picture, I'm pulling up my whips now. So
Woohoo. She's
let me
organized.
share the screen. Well, they're degrees. Cozy Cove is my oldest whip, so that would have been my first choice as well
Yeah.
after that. So I'm just scrolling on through my whips. So all of these could have
Could be. Yeah.
yeah. So wow, that one. That's Attack on Titan. That's the one I would do. So you guys got a quick scroll through my whips.
That's good. Nice to see your whip collection. We haven't done that for a while.
Yep. Prop number two, stitch on a, did you say yours?
Yeah.
Okay, stitch on a whip with a lot of components.
Temperature bookshelf.
Yes.
Now, I want to say something. Shameless plug here, but
Mhm.
I have so loved doing this year that I have decided to design my own stitch count one because I don't do my temperature, I do my stitch count. And
Mhm.
I am designing a stitch along for next year with Paddock Lane Designs that is going to be different to this, but along the similar lines. So if you're interested in keeping track of your stitch count, or if you care about the weather, you can do the weather, but I don't care about the weather. Um, keep an eye, join the Paddock Lane Designs Facebook group and find out about the stitch along. I will be releasing it in November so that you can actually stitch on the hardware in
Mhm.
December, ready to start stitching on the components in January.
That sounds great.
Yeah,
Very
really
thoughtful to
excited.
start early. Yeah.
And I've also teed up with Grace Note Fabrics to be a fabric distributor for this sale in America. So you don't have to worry about getting fabric from me in Australia.
Very
Obviously,
nice.
obviously, I have Paddock Lane Designs fabric for it in Australia.
Okay, that's
Sorry,
great.
shameless plug in the middle of that, but why not?
Yeah. Prop number three, stitch on a whip containing something you can smell.
You didn't talk about what you had
Oh, I didn't.
because my shameless plug threw you off track.
Yeah, it sure did.
Sorry.
A lot of components, which would be um, haunted library's house, what I wanted to stitch on anyway. But of course, because it's released in chapters, and there's a lot of different components in it. So yeah. Number
Something you can
three, stitch on
smell.
something you can smell. Yeah.
Okay. I've got a couple of options for this. I could do my old time wagons because you can definitely smell the horses.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really wanting to finish Pretty Little Sydney, and it's got the Bondi Beach and the surf, and you can definitely smell the seawater.
Yes, and you and I are thinking very similarly. Cozy Cove, you got the stinky horses and the ocean smell all in one.
There you go. Gee, we're good. Just so you know, people, we don't pre-prepare this. We just get online and go, right. The only thing we prepare is who's talking about what.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
sometimes even that's not prepared. You get alive, you get to see our brains working.
Yes. Okay, prompt number 4, stitch on something with a bee or containing something that you're afraid of.
Hmm. Ooh. Heights.
Ah, yeah.
That was out of left field. I was about to
No,
be, but I can also do Anzac because there's plenty of things there to be afraid of, like sharks.
absolutely. Well, of course, haunted library sale because I'm loving that. It's so fun. Um, Lots of things, Dracula, you got a ghost and walking skeletons, reading
Bats.
skeletons, all that jazz. That's yes. A lot more components in this have already been released, but that's the pick I've got, so that's what you get. You want to check it out? You can go on Etsy, Lola Crow's Etsy. There
There
you
you
go.
go.
Um, Prompt number 5, stitch on a whip containing feet.
Okay, I've actually started stitching this one and I've put a message on for the marker of it. So I don't know who's marking this one, but it's a secret model stitch. So I can't show you what it is, but I have worked on my latest koala design for the online magazine in Australia, Down the Rabbit Hole. So the koala has feet.
Got it. So in Haunted Library Sal, which I've shown twice now, the skeleton's feet are clearly visible. So there you go. Prompt number 6 is always the Sal for daily 30. And prompt number 7 is the daily 30. Your Sal? Nutcracker Village.
I'm still not cracker villaging, but remember, people, you've got to actually have the hashtag and you've got to show where it comes from as a real sale. So I always put in a screenshot of the Instagram hashtag page.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you for saying that. For now, the daily 30 has expired because you have to do it within the first 7 days of this challenge. So that is it for Elephants Week. And now we're moving on to this current week, which is the Smoky Mountains. So let me pull that up. Again, the preparedness thing, you're seeing it in action. I am just moving my internet page to get to it. And just one moment.
This only came out last night, so it's hot off the press, and I haven't even set myself mine post up yet, so I better do that.
Yes, very much so. The stitch count for this week is it 100? Yeah, 100 or 1 hour for 2 tokens, 200 or 2 hours for 4 tokens. Prompt number 1, stitch on a piece that you have visited the most.
So I feel like
Or
you could look at this two different ways. It's one you keep going back to many times because you love it, or because it's so big, it's got the biggest stitch count, you have to keep revisiting it to work on it. Or you could even think it's one you visited the most in that you're trying to get it done. So you keep going back to it every day.
Oh, yeah, your focus piece, yeah.
But I'd have to go Anzac out of my current choices because I've been back to it numerous times and it's still not there.
Okay. In parentheses, they say have the most stitches in. And that's but still there's some room for interpretation there too, because you could be like 90% on one whip that has less stitches, or you can be on like a Haid and you could have like 50,000 stitches in and you're still like a tenth of the way through it or something. So explain what you're doing and why you think it fits the prompt. Daily 30 graders are very generous as long as you take the effort to match your whip to the
As long
prompt.
as it makes sense. Yeah.
Yes. Most stitches in are the most visited. That's really hard because it's kind of even with me.
Yeah.
And kind of what we were talking about, interpretation. So I'm going to choose to go with the whip that I've recently visited the most and have a good amount of stitches in, which would be Attack on Titan.
Yeah. I was going to say
Yeah.
that would be the one I'd feel like for that.
Yep. Prompt number 2, stitch on a piece you can relate to hiking.
Sorry, what did you say? I was being interrupted.
That's okay. Stitch on a piece that you can relate to hiking.
For hiking. Well,
Yep.
again, I've got a few options here. I obviously could hike across the continent of Australia, but because I'm really wanting to get Pretty Little Sydney, we actually have a thing called a bridge climb, where you climb over the top of the harbour bridge and you hike over the top of the harbour bridge.
I'm thinking if you're going to do hiking, you're going to be outdoors. So I have a few options. So one of my whips that I haven't really shown in a while because I haven't stitched on it in a while is Stream at Darhaven, which this is a perfect place to go hiking. You know, you don't always have to be climbing up a mountain to hike. So I would pick something like Stream at Darhaven, a nature scene. Um, Stitch on a piece with trees or plants.
Okay, so again, there are palm trees at the front of Pretty Little Sydney. You're getting a lot of them, and I'm not going to stitch in because I need to knock it over.
Yep. I would stick with Stream at Darhaven if that's the direction I was going. Yep. Because it's low stitch counts, you stay with it. Stitch on a piece that you're stitching in synchrony with someone else, either a piece that you started together, like a salve, or a piece that you know several of your friends are also stitching on.
I got lots of choices. Anzac, Pretty Little Sydney, and of course, the Nutcracker.
Yes. I would have to go with the Haunted Library Sal. I know a lot of people are stitching on that one's very popular. And right now, like my whips don't overlap other people's that much, but I'm also doing Dog's Declaration with a friend. So that would be another option. So I'll share that one just to enable somebody if they like ink circles and dogs and squirrels. This is a very cute sampler. Okay.
Very cute.
Number 5, stitch on a piece that you can relate to history.
Ooh, well, I think for that one, you can't see it in this picture, but there's a lot of history in this picture of Australia of Anzac. Particularly, you've got like the old ship with the European settlement of the country. But there's also, oh yeah, you can see there, Ned Kelly is a Australian folklore hero. Like he was a real guy, but he's a folklore hero from robbing stagecoaches. So it's really good.
For me, I would do Cozy Cove because obviously it's like colonial U.S. kind of picture kind of scene.
I do apologize, everyone, for all the background noise. My children do not have any comprehension of anyone else having, need for quiet. I just keep walking backwards and forwards and record while I'm recording.
It's life. Okay, number 6 is the Sal again. So we've already gone over that. And prompt number 7 is the daily 30. So basically, you stitch 30 minutes a day and you post a starting or ending picture to claim those 30 minutes. And you do that 5 days within a 7-day time period. And you earn 5 tokens for that effort. You can do just that daily 30 and not do any of the other prompts. So you can make it your own adventure in the daily 30 weeklies.
Which is very exciting. Okay, so that's the daily 30 people to help you out with those ideas. Now, the other prompt-based one we often talk about now is the DownUnderDivas. And there is a fortnightly one that's about to end, but I want to just read you the one for next fortnight that starts on Monday. So it starts on Monday, my time, and it is to do with the Melbourne Cup. The Melbourne Cup is a big horse race that happens every year in Australia. It's the biggest race. We call it the race that stops the nation. And in the Melbourne Cup, you often have a sweep where you can bid on each horse number. So what's going to happen is that she's actually made like a sweep out of stitching. And you can choose to use the categories, or you can sort of do a penalty option as well. But let's just see. And then she's going to draw the numbers that are going to be like the 10 numbers out of these that are going to be in the sweep. So we've got to prepare it now, be ready to stitch on them next week. So if any of these jump to your mind, can you please tell me? First one is a whip with a horse.
Yep. Cozy Co. Just say my whip.
Yes. Yep, definitely. Do you have a whip with a cup? Sorry, excuse me a minute. Sure. The second one is a whip with a cup. Do you have any whips with a cup?
I don't believe so. I'm going to pass on that one.
Yeah, I don't think I have a cup, but I do have a big vasey vessel. Look, there could possibly be a teacup in there somewhere too. I'm really not sure. So that one doesn't jump out at me. So I'm hoping that one doesn't get done. A whip that relates to fashion.
You could almost swing anything. But, you know, I would just pick people with clothing. So Cozy Cove has some ladies out front with dresses on, and that was the fashion at the time. So I don't know. I would try to spin a story.
Yeah, just give me a minute again. Sorry, people. So the next one is a monochrome piece.
I am doing Anzac all in black, and it's my pattern. The fabric that is modeled. So that would be my monochrome piece. It is.
That was exactly what I was thinking. So I'd have that one ready. The next one is a sampler. And I don't know by a sampler how particularly, like I presume it's got to be a sampler. And I actually don't have any samplers I'm working on at the moment, so hopefully that doesn't get called.
Well, Anzac is a sampler of sorts.
It's sorts. Yeah, it doesn't say an alphabet sampler, does it?
No, it doesn't. And you would consider a Quaker a style of sampler.
Okay.
And it doesn't necessarily have, a strong alphabet presence. Well, I'll just show you. Really quick, like Autumn Quaker by Rosewood Manor is clearly a sampler, but no, it's Quaker.
Yes, it's different motifs. Okay.
Yeah, so I think you could do that.
Number 6 is full coverage.
Attack on Titan for me.
And for me, I would be doing my stitch in time, which I haven't dug out for a while. A whip with an animal.
Oh, Cozy Cove. Oh, yeah.
We got them all overdone. But also, well, this one could be quite interesting. A whip with a mode of transport. My old-time wagons definitely is a mode of transport. But I've also got sailing boats and surfing.
Yes, same with Cozy Cove. There's boats and horses.
Yep, beautiful. Okay. Then we've got a whip with flowers. I've got my temperature bookshelf has a flower on it.
Yes, Dog's Declaration has lots of flowers on it.
Definitely lots of flowers on that. A whip with trees. We've already covered that one. A whip with words. Nutcracker Village.
Dog's Declaration.
Yep. Whip with an alphabet. I don't have one at the moment.
With the full alphabet. I don't know that I have one.
Has your language of flowers got the whole alphabet on it?
It does. I am loath to bring it out. I don't regret starting it. So whipping, but there's language of flowers there.
And it has the alphabet on it. So you
Yes,
could do
and it's
that one.
beautiful. Yes.
Okay. Your smallest whip.
Wow. I think that would be haunted library style, maybe.
Okay. Mine at the moment would be samurai. Your largest whip.
That would be as the leaves turn.
Okay.
I haven't shown that one in a while, so
No.
my big beautiful Hade. There you go.
And mine would be my stitch in time.
Mhm.
Your favorite whip would be your haunted library cell at the moment.
At the moment, yes.
And my favorite whip for this week is going to be Pretty Little Sydney.
Nice.
A whip with food.
Um, I would just go with as the leaves turn. I mean, there's pumpkins and there's a general store in the background. Lots of food.
And I'd go with Nutcracker. Actually, Nutcracker has a cup in it too, because there's a tea and cup in a window of one of the places. I remember that.
Gotcha.
I don't normally, well, it's because this is from a different group, I can use it because I don't like to double dip it in Daily 30 because it's my Sal. A whip with specialty stitches.
That would be my chatteling. Let me show that one. Go back. I'm sure some of my other whips might have a specialty stitch or two, like a French knot or something like that. But yeah, let me share that really quick. Here, the chatelaine, it's a lumber garden. So
My specialty stitch is not really a specialty stitch, but it's used it. You can't tell, but the fence in this is actually done as satin stitch. So that counts as a specialty stitch.
yeah.
Stitch with silk thread by Lantern Lane. I'm doing totally in silks from Silks for You.
The chatelaine, but also I'm doing circus circles in a hank of Mrs. But it's in silk.
And it says stitch with the silk thread. So you have to actually do the stitching. I could also do my temperature bookshelf. So that's with silk thread, the books and things. So that's good. Stitch with a variegated thread.
I'd stick on circus circles, yeah.
My Anzac. Stitch the Sal with covered. A whip with a border.
Oh, but it would come down to the one I really wanted. Probably Dog's Declaration because it has a pearl border.
Mine would be Anzac because there is actually a stitched border. A whip with obvious sections. A seasonal whip and a holiday whip. So for me, I would actually be going both. That would be my holiday whip. And my seasonal whip would be Pretty Little Sydney for summer.
For me, Haunted Library Style for the holiday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So that's what's happening for the next 2 weeks. If you're interested in Down Under Divas, you got to get all prepared so that when she drops the numbers, you know which ones are chosen. So hopefully it's not those ones I don't want, but who knows. All right. What else is happening around the traps, Laurie?
Most of the other games I'm in are more like team role play games. There's Utopia. Maybe you want to talk about that a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, let's start with
Stitching.
Utopia. So with Utopia, Laurie and I are both in Team Greece, and it's a game that requires consistent stitching and the ability to cope with curveballs almost daily. We are traveling to collect people and resources to go and set up our own country, basically. And there's storms and there's floods and there's fires and there's who knows what else happens to us along the way. And it is a team game. And there is 8 people in the team. And it really requires the 8 people to be consistently stitching in order to participate in this game to the full effect. because some things you have to rely on certain people to stitch. And if they don't stitch it, you don't get it, and then it holds everyone up. So it's a really fun game. Laurie and I both enjoy it once we got used to the curveballs. But we are looking for a new member in Greece. So if you are someone who has been hearing us talk about it and thinks it sounds like fun, drop us a message and we'll see, because we are going to have a space open up soon. We've had a few instances where we've taken people we don't know, which is fine, because sometimes you make your new best friends that way.
Yeah.
So just because we don't know you doesn't mean we wouldn't want you in the team, but we do need someone who's going to be committed and reliable, so that we can plan on things and get them done. Jurassic Park is a dinosaur one, and it is currently just has like tour buses that come in. Sounds very reminiscent of another game I played a while ago that got shut down. But it's got tour buses that come through, and we have to like take care of the animal, take care of the dinosaurs, and feed the people and all that sort of stuff. So that's in the middle of buses at the moment. So that's quite good. What else have you got, Laurie?
There's Harvest Stitching.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, another role play game where you're taking care of a farm. It's kind of like your Heyday or your Farmville or those types of app games. Similar premise. Team, lots of regular stitching and long goals, short goals, that kind of thing. It's motivation to stitch in a fun way, in a way that you connect with other people.
Which is great.
Yes.
If you're not so interested in the team type of games, because there are a lot of them out there, and you're more a solo stitcher, then the latest event in NoNewStarts has dropped. I'm just looking for it, and it's the latest Zodiac. So I'm going to have to make my screen big to find it. Go away. It's not where I want to be. Facebook changes everything so often, you can never find anything. It's the year of the dog. So if you were born in the year of the dog, or even if you weren't, you might want to stitch it. That's people born in 1934, 46, 58, 70, 82, 94, 2006, 2018, or 2030. If you were born in 2030, you could compete in this event and have an extra birthday dip. Thanks, Mary Barbara. All right, so this is good. The animal is a dog, and we have already covered our answers to dogs, which is good. We've got dogs in Anzac, Dogs Declaration, and Cozy Cove, I think, has a dog, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Lucky numbers 3, 4, 9. So any way you can relate your whip to the numbers 3, 4, and 9, either has the number 3, 4, or 9, or it has three things. I think there's 3 or 4 lanterns in my lantern lane. We're going to stitch in the lucky colours of green, red, or purple. And the lucky flower is a rose, or I'm going to type this one up. I can't type it up at all. So I lost the spelling of it. It's called a Cymbidium orchid. Do you know what a Cymbidium orchid looks like?
Nope.
That's why I'm trying to type it up. There we go. Got them. All right. Where are you so I can make you bigger? Can't share screen when it's small. I can't see my Cymbidiums. There they are. There you go, people. There are your Cymbidium orchids.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, so lots of colours, oranges, pinks. So there you go. And that is the day of the dog. Year of the dog, sorry.
Yep, and there's another event in NoNewStarts.
Oh, yes, there is, which is happening. We didn't talk about that one yet, did we?
No, we didn't.
Tell us about the hayride, Laurie.
Yeah, so it started last week, but don't worry, it's like a 2-week event and it doesn't end until Sunday, October 30th. And it's basically a hayride. You purchase a ticket, you stitch so many stitches to purchase a ticket. And then once you're on the hayride, you have 3 different excursions. You have apple picking, which is 100 stitches gets you an apple. 5 apples gets you a raffle entry. So 500 stitches. You can bulk stitch and you can be monogamous on that excursion. Then you have the pumpkin patch. It's 400 stitches to stitch for a pumpkin. And every time you stitch a pumpkin, you have to switch whips. That's something you get through all of your whips and get a little progress on everything. If you get 2 tokens, so stitch on at least 2 different whips for 800 stitches, you'll get 2 raffle entries. Then there is the corn maze. The corn maze has 6 steps, totaling all of the steps total about 1,000 stitches. You get 3 raffle entries if you make your way through that. You can stay on the same whip, but you have to start and stop depending on how many stitches for that step through the corn maze. So stop and start, which is kind of good, especially if you're double dipping in some other games or events, for those increments. It could be easy, but it's a fun way to get progress on your whips and to celebrate the autumn season and all the fun things that happen around this time.
Definitely. And speaking of No New Start stuff, the raffle will be being drawn in the middle of December, like planned, and all the raffle tickets earned this year will go towards that raffle. And then we'll be getting ready for next year. Everyone will be starting again. Even though the worst comes, even though there's the road trips continuing through over, there's going to be opportunities in the road trip to get your raffle entries, and all those raffle tickets earned will be going into the raffle at this end of the year. And then we'll be moving on to next year's thing. We are opening up for new members at the beginning of November. So if you've got anyone or you want to come along and join us in the Whip Warriors Fun for 2023, then keep your eye open for that. And again, well, it might even open before Laurie and I next get to film, depending on our filming schedule. But it will keep your eye open. We'll publicise when it's open. We're opening it to anyone who wants to participate in the group. So there's not a limit of numbers. The only requirement is that you are a participating member. You have to be stitching and participating, because we don't like lurkers. And I'm just thinking about what other games are happening at the moment. HellsStitchen is just got a new bunch of orders going through to keep us busy. Harry Potter is working on their big monthly, kicking over the big stitch counts to get different events, different places to different locations. I think that's about all we do, isn't it? I always end up leaving. We've left it out again. What about PopCulture?
Yeah, they're doing the scavenger hunt. We kind of covered it a little bit in the
that's right. It was
monthly.
2-month one. Yes.
Yeah.
So continuing from last month. So that's good. All right, guys. Well, that's it for us for now. So hopefully you have plenty to do until we next see you. Have fun stitching and get lots of progress on your whips.
Yes.
Bye.